Hello everybody, happy Saturday. Welcome back to the Little Red House. It's been 2-3 weeks since I've made a video. Back in the kitchen, one of my favorite places to be in the house. And today I'm starting with homemade dinner rolls, and then I'm moving on to a meatloaf. Meatloaf to me is kind of like for cold fall winter days, but I'm going to pretend because it's still 80 something degrees here. I'm getting quite tired of it, as I'm sure a lot of people are. So I'm starting with the dinner rolls. In my bowl I have got half a stick of unsalted butter. I cubed it, melted it just a little tiny bit to get it softened. So I have that in there. I have 1 cup of very warm whole milk, and I have 3 tablespoons of sugar. And then I have 2 1/4 teaspoons of cake yeast, but I take it out of the package and put it in my jar that I store in the refrigerator. I'm going to add 1 beaten egg and 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. I know a lot of people like myself can't have a lot of salt, but if you try to bake bread or rolls without adding salt, it doesn't have the same flavor. And then I'm going to add 3 cups of all-purpose unbleached flour. Try not to add, try to like really make sure it's an even 3 cups, because once you're done, you're going to, it's going to feel a little sticky. If it's a little too sticky, you may add up to 1/4 cup, but once you pull it out of the bowl and you knead it, it might stick to your counter or your board, but the more you knead it, it becomes more workable, and it doesn't stick any longer to your counter or your breadboard. So I'm going to do that now, and then I'm going to follow up with the meatloaf. Okay, so now we're working on the meatloaf, and in my mixing bowl I've got 1 pound of 80/20 hamburger. I've got a half of a roll of Bob Evans sausage. I have a sleeve of crackers. I typically use like a Ritz cracker or Townhouse, something that's buttery. It's got a nice little taste to it. I have half cup of ketchup. I have a whole teaspoon of sage. You can use a little bit more if you want. I have a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder and salt and pepper. And I also, these are my frozen carrots and onions. I typically shred those when I put them in there, but I didn't have any extras, so I just took my frozens and I chopped them up with some parsley also. So I'm going to mix all this together, and I've had so many different types of meatloaf growing up. This is my favorite. It's simple. It's very inexpensive to make. The topping to me is the best part. So in here I have ketchup, brown sugar, barbecue sauce, and about a 1/4 teaspoon of mustard. Now, you know I'm frugal. These little doodads come in handy that you get at fast food. I keep a bowl in my refrigerator, and all the extras, they come in handy. Like this is, I didn't have to go buy a bottle of barbecue sauce because I already had this and it was the perfect amount. You know, you can get little sour creams, mayonnaise, whatever. Laugh if you may, but you know what? They do save money. So I'm going to mix all this together and get it ready for the oven. And I forgot to add the 2 eggs. Gotta have eggs. Bind it together. Better late than never. At least it's in there. Okay, so here's the meatloaf all dressed, and in the pan, I put cooking spray down first. Always got to add that. And I have cut up potatoes, russet potatoes. Even though I'm making mashed potatoes, I just wanted a few. I added my frozen carrots and onions from my Ziploc freezer bags, and some green peas for color. I cook it this way because the juice from the glaze and the actual meatloaf gets in with all the vegetables, and it just tastes wonderful. So I'm going to pop this in the oven, about 350 degrees for close to an hour. Your oven may vary, so if you don't feel it's done in an hour, keep it going until you feel it's ready to come out. And I will show you when it's all done. Okay, so here are the dinner rolls. I just pulled them out of the oven. Turned out really well. But I got to dig into them because I've got a husband in there that's hungry, and he's starting to yell, when's dinner, when's dinner? So I gotta tear one of these off and take care of him. So still waiting on the meatloaf, and I will get back to you shortly with it. All right, everybody, here is the finished meatloaf. My vegetables are nice and tender and has that glaze kind of mixed in there. There's my dinner rolls, minus the one that my husband just had to have a snack, you know. And then here is my mashed potatoes. Typically, I do leave the skins on. Today, I was just craving without the skins. So we are going to enjoy dinner. If you were my neighbor, I would happily invite you over. But we're not, so I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching.
Hey, is it time to eat yet?
Yep, he's yelling already. Have a good one. We did make it to one garage sale early this morning. Although we didn't find anything, we did want to share the beautiful scenery with you. Enjoy.